Indiana Fever many fans is still poking fingers at head coach Stephanie White for actually making the game not entertaining anymore, bro. This motion offense has to be addressed, and Stephanie White has to be held accountable because it's truly the offense that she's running, and it is not for Caitlin Clark at this point. Now, both Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White spoke to the media.
Keeping up with the real things that happen behind the scenes. Caitlin Clark has ruthlessly disclosed her health. Sincere shocks. Oh, and she didn't keep anything from Stephanie White either. Did it have any shade? Was it right? Was it both? Wrapped with a jump shot and kept cold. You will need to witness this press conference in order to believe it. Absolutely not. This is Caitlin in her unfiltered state. Additionally, let's suppose that Jaws is on the ground. Grab some popcorn. It's that kind of video.
Thought at times we could have played a little bit faster, and I think that's on me, like not conceding in that. We still got to play up tempo, we still got to play fast. But I mean, I thought for the most part we did a lot of stuff that coach wanted us to do, and you know, that wasn't why we lost.
I can't hold you, man. That kind of looked like she let that slip out, man. I don't know. But I mean, we all see it. When they play slow, it's just not a good team, man. They're not as good as we see that they could be, right? So they need to play fast, man. I think, you know, they don't necessarily look that good when they're playing half-court ball. Maybe taking something from the Valkyries, man. The Valkyries run, all right? They be running.
Seems to be worn out. Dehydrated spiritually, but not exhausted. Caitlin Clark is driven by pure willpower, fumes, and caffeine. The WNBA throws every challenge in her path, making it seem like a twisted version of American Ninja Warrior with tougher coaches and referees. Store the hardwood. This woman is overcoming challenges. Despite being the face of development, hope, and ticket sales, she has turned into the preferred chew toy for officials, who must have mistaken her for a tackling dummy. Missed calls are no longer the exclusive problem. In this full-fledged experimental study, referees assess how many illegal screens and shoulder bumps a player may take before losing their mind.
Aces defeated the Indiana Fever 89-81. And this game was disappointing for many fans, not only for the fact that it seemed like the Fever had this one in the bag, but they kind of gave it away at the end of the game, but also because it seemed like there was something off with this Fever team. They didn't have the same energy and spark that we all know and love. So many fans are asking, what is going?
It's not a pretty sight either. Nowadays, the whistles are wind devices that only make noise when she is actively engaged in a task. The rules book suddenly starts to look like a chaotic choose-your-own-adventure book. If someone sneezes on her, play on. She will, however, be suspended for 2 to 5 games if she inhales near someone.
I have figured out the solution to the Indiana Fever's problems. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. This is what we gotta do. We gotta put Caitlin Clark off ball. We need to run a motion offense, so when the defense takes away what Caitlin Clark does best, we have other players that can still perform, so when she does have bad games, we're not completely dead in the water. I think that is the best way to move forward with this Indiana Fever team.
It is illegal to be physical. Not metaphorically, but with genuine suspicion. There is less physical contact in some muggings. Now, we might have to check to see if any of these defenders have brass knuckles taped under their wristbands. How is the league responding? Crickets. Passive-aggressive Instagram posts that pretend everything is fine as their biggest celebrity is pushed to the brink of obscurity are even worse. And we haven't even discussed Indiana. Being emotionally demanding doesn't make up for it. The ambience is peculiar. The air is heavy. The ambience in the locker room is evocative of a spooky group therapy session where people are drinking Gatorade and having nightmares. Caitlin appears to have joined a business that sells just IKEA furniture. Fragile, delicate, and just challenging to assemble. In Indiana, you would think that a generational talent would be treated like royalty. Absolutely not. They handed her a paper towel and pointed her in the direction of a dripping faucet. She tries to play 4D chess as her friends play Hungry Hippos. There is no mention of the offense. The defense is non-existent. On the sidelines, Stephanie White is also drawing plays, as if she were playing Pictionary with invisible ink. There are mostly only vibrations. There is no framework or direction. Not the good kind, either.
First, talk about Caitlin Clark. So she struggled once again in this game. She was 7 for 20 from the field and 1 for 10 from 3, which puts her at 1 for 17 over the past few games. And if you're a fan of Caitlin Clark, you know that this is so unlike her. She is arguably the best shooter in the WNBA, and she is having a significant cold streak over the past 2 games. But her missing shots isn't actually what bothers me. The thing that bothered me most in the game yesterday was the one shot that she passed up. Now, she had been missing a few shots, and if you guys were on my live stream, I said the thing that she needs to do is to continue shooting. Shooters shoot. The only way to break a cold streak is to continue shooting.
Every time Clark looks toward the bench, it seems as though he is gazing into space. Stephanie White stands there gesturing as though she were ordering coffee at a cacophonous drive-thru while the game descends further into chaos. It's not coaching, it's interpretative dancing. The players are experiencing a full-blown existential crisis as they try to determine which version of the plan they're following and whether it's starting to materialize. She goes between shrieking about patience and demanding fast tempo. It looks like Park's single sprite and dynamic game is buffering right now. Her passes are a little late, and her confidence is a little lacking. She used to assault with incredible inventiveness, but nowadays she is careful. And who wouldn't truly envision trying to play basketball at your best while constantly keeping an eye on your back for flying elbows and your bench for signs of sensual life? If things keep going this way, Caitlin will need a sabbatical, an exorcist, or maybe both, since what she is going through goes beyond just having bad basketball abilities. It's a war of the mind. Rather than turning its players into unfortunate highlight reels, this league ought to preserve and elevate them. She is now gradually being drained by a league that begged for her brilliance but was unable to nurture it.
Wait, what? Did you just tell me that Stephanie White went on an interview tour this whole entire offseason saying exactly that? Did you just tell me Stephanie White went on an So how come when Caitlin Clark has a bad game, this team looks like absolute dog shit? How come when Caitlin Clark isn't busy backpacking this team, it looks like absolute dog shit, coach? Just a question. Just a question. What we saw today, folks, I feel bad for everybody that had to sit through that. Everybody that wasted 2 hours and 25 minutes watching the Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces. I feel bad that we had to sit through that. That was a tough watch.
Her sophomore rhythm hasn't even been discovered yet. This is supposed to be the season of glow-ups, the great leap, and the "I know what I'm doing now" phase. Instead, she is using a water pistol and an unsuitable squad to try to survive the Hunger Games. And the fact that league officials are out here playing Sudoku with the rules while the fan base is screaming for help is almost poetic in a terrible Shakespearean way. A intergenerational talent stuck in a Groundhog Day remake where every game is a combination of desperation and tragedy. Stephanie White continues to smile in spite of everything, attending press conferences as though she has stumbled onto a secret blueprint that only exists in parallel world. Before she starts to question the impulses that led her to make the inescapable decision to leave. Before exchanging her fire for tiredness and waking up to find she isn't leading a revolution, she is trapped in a skip fire with a hoop fixed to the side.
Well, I think you have to look at things a little bit holistically. I think Caitlin Clark is a really hard player to officiate, much like Diana Taurasi was throughout the course of her career, for a couple of reasons. Caitlin Clark regularly gets picked up in the full court. She also gets blitzed more over the course of her career than any player in WNBA history or in that period of time. And she also creates some contact herself on the offensive end of the floor. She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her.
The longer she stays in this mental maelstrom, the harder it will be for her to recover. She therefore requires a time machine, a parachute, or an escape plan. Indeed, there are other problems besides losing games. Her losing her identity as a player while the league watches helplessly is the reason for this. It's confusing. They started all of the cameras and sponsorship deals as soon as she became a professional. She is now fading due to her aimless dribble handle and post entry. She is the player, not just any player, and the reason why people are watching. They are still treating her like a substitute for a 20-year-old squad that was reconstructed with a broken GPS in spite of this. Stephanie White spends her time constantly adjusting illogical rotations and treating lineups like a Pinterest board. For 80% of the game, let's keep Caitlin off the ball. For instance, that will surely improve the situation. Because this is the type of environment that affects not just your numbers but also your spirit. If no one else would, she would have to save herself. She deserves to be truthful. The supporters deserve better. The game deserves more.
Well, I be damned. I be damned. 7 for 20 from the field, 1 for 10 from the three-point line. And look at those turnovers, 8 turnovers. She leads the league in turnovers. But guess what? Her Clarkies are only going to be impressed, and they're going to brag about the 19 points and 10 assists. Me personally, I'm all about efficiency. I'm concerned about those last 3, them turnovers, which she leads the league in turnovers. She is shooting horrible from the field. And as far as them three-pointers, in the last 2 games, she's only made 1 three-pointer, and that's the one against the 8.
We won't be seeing the rise of a superstar if Caitlin Clark is around for very long, so she had better start packing her bags unless Indiana finds a new coach, a new strategy, and a spine that can tell the difference between offense, motion, and crazy flailing. Due to disinterest, subpar whistles, and Stephanie White's captivating, mysterious, and intentionally confusing journey, we are seeing the demise of a legend. Although she is on the court, she is not now in command. Not even close. Though she never has a chance to speak, Caitlin Clark seems to be the protagonist of a dystopian theatrical production. There are specific ways she moves. She is still talented. However, the power, leadership, and command that once made her the focal point of the basketball world are being curbed and degraded rather than ostracized or eradicated. Caitlin Clark is not yet in the process of being developed. She is being dismantled piece by piece, much like a car being dismantled for parts in a garage in a back alley. Additionally, everyone is acting as if nothing has changed and that they are being gaslighted into insignificance. Is an exercise in character development or, as it were, a typical aspect of being a rookie? Absolutely not. Beware of spoilers. A dazzling WNBA symbol covers a soul-sucking, slow, and brutal drain.